Hey guys, welcome to episode 7 of the Kurious Kast. My name is Charles. I'm your host and co-owner of the Kurious Group. Today with us, we have a very special guest. We have Anne-Marie K. Thank you for being here today.
Of course.
So Anne-Marie owns a marketing agency and she is a social media powerhouse. She's had great success over the years through social media, through branding, and her business branding with AMK is a testament to that success. So thank you for being here today.
Thank you for having me.
And we'd love for you to share a little bit about yourself, and then we can get into the business side of things and into marketing. But who is Anne-Marie K?
Well, basically, my name is Anne-Marie, but everyone calls me AMK.
Yep.
And I'm the founder of Move with AMK and Branding with AMK. Mm-hmm. So Move with AMK is essentially a online platform where I use my social status to help girls with bullying and body image and self-worth, helping them to be strong and to be confident and to know their worth at all times and know that they can achieve anything they put their mind to. And under that, I also own a clothing line called Move by AMK, which has the same core values. And then also we have Branding with AMK, which is the agency, and I do influencer marketing, content creation, creative direction, and social media management.
That sounds like a lot.
Yeah, it's a lot.
Yeah, it is.
Sometimes people get confused, like, what do you do? And I'm like,
But this all sounds really interesting.
Yeah.
And I'm sure everyone wants to find out more about it. But let's start with where you're from, where you grew up, what your origins are. And then I think that'll probably tell some of the story as to how this all kind of eventually.
Okay, well, amazing. Well, I'm Australian, but with Lebanese background, born and raised here. I basically grew up in like the Bonneric Heights, Bonneric area, and then now living more towards like the Rigsby area. But that's basically where I grew up. When
and how did you start in the social media world?
Well, because of the experiences that I had growing up, when I started Move with AMK when I was 18, I was bullied when I was younger. I went through a lot of bullying and a lot of negative body image. I was extremely overweight as a teenager. And at the time I was bullied because of my weight. And then after I ended up losing 30 kilos by myself. And I found like a passion for health and fitness.
That's amazing.
Thank you. But along the way, after I found like a passion for health and fitness and I lost the weight, then I realized that I was still being bullied and I was still not 100% happy with where I was, because back in the time when I was like, I'm 34 now, but when I was like 17, 18, the ideal body image at the time was very different to what the ideal body image now is. So what was being portrayed in the media back then was like Miranda Kerr, the Victoria's Secret models, and genetically my body was not like that. So I was finding it very hard to accept my body the way it was, because I thought in order for me to be accepted or in order for me to be beautiful, I needed to look that way. But it wasn't until I had lost the weight and then realized, oh, hey, well, like I've lost weight now, I'm still not 100%, that I realized it wasn't about being a certain size or a certain shape. It's about obviously being healthy, but how you feel about yourself and being confident in your own skin. So which is why I started Move with AMK, because I wanted to help girls love themselves and to know that you can be bigger, you can be smaller, you can be tall, you can be lean, curvy, short, whatever it is, but you have to love yourself for the way you are in order to be beautiful.
And would you say that is probably one of the contributing, and if there are any others, the contributing factors to you wanting to work in that social media world?
Oh, yeah, because I wanted to use, to take it back, I started to use and make an online platform to help girls. Because I wanted to use my online presence to be able to spread a message. So I would make videos about loving yourself or being strong and being confident and being online all the time, making posts like this to help them and to spread out my message.
Yeah, just touching on that, I can see, from when we reached out to you to come onto the podcast and to share your amazing story, we can see that you've been on Channel 9, on Channel 10.
Yeah.
And you've been a spokesperson for anti-bullying.
Yeah.
So that's a very brave thing to do.
Thank you.
How did that all come about? And was that because of social media, or was that just because of people you'd helped, or how did that eventuate?
That's actually a really good question. So I had been, when I was on TV for the first time, I'm pretty sure I was 24 years old. So I had been already being online since I was 18, making posts and things like that. And so people started to recognize me as the girl that helps girls be confident and fitness and all that stuff, because I studied PT after the weight loss, because I wanted to help them through fitness and through a healthy mindset and stuff like that. But funnily enough, like how I actually got on TV is just like I always was talking about my story and finding ways to spread my message. So I would go on like Channel 10, like the website, and find everyone that works there and send my story out and things like that. And my family were in restaurants. So every time people come to the restaurants, I'll be like, oh, like, what do you do? Like all this stuff. And then somehow I met people that were in the industry, and then they saw my story and they wanted to interview me because of it.
And then the roots of that bullying, if you don't mind sharing, like was that like a school thing? Was it an online bullying thing? Like because like I think most people in their younger years, including myself, have been on the wrong side of, I guess, bullying. And it's not a nice thing.
No.
So like whether it be in school, like generally like kids at school aren't very nice. So it's like, was it there that it kind of started? Or
for me, it started off at school.
Yeah.
Because when I was being bullied, social media wasn't really a thing back then. We had like Bebo, we had MySpace, but it was more in school, and it wasn't even as bad as
I can
people.
actually, just on that, I can it's starting to show our age.
No, literally. But back then, I feel like it would have been easier back then because you go to school, you know, if you were to get bullied, you come home and you like escape it. Whereas now it's a little bit harder because you can't escape it. You're getting bullied online, you're getting bullied on TikTok, on Instagram through DMs. And if you don't have a good support system around you, whether it be your friends, family, teachers, or things like that, it can really take a negative toll on someone's mental health. But for me back then, it was when I was at school. And I'm so grateful that I have my family, because they were the ones that helped me be strong and stay positive, and like kind of shaped my mind into who I am today, and like why I help people.
And would you say that they were one of the big key drivers of overcoming that adversity?
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
Yeah. And then were there any other key drivers that were there along the way? Was there like a particular friend groups that maybe you had at school, or was it just the family side of things?
Honestly, it was the family and like my own self, talking to myself, making sure that I always kept positive and knew my worth, and like confidence even till now, like it grew over the years, and loving yourself grows over the years. It's like a plant, you have to continuously water it. But my family was probably the biggest reason for me to be able to get through it, because they were there for me throughout the whole thing.
And everyone's story is a bit different when it comes to bullying. Like some people might have had a very core friend group, you know, a very small core friend group, maybe at school or even outside of school, that may have helped them.
Yeah.
It might not necessarily always be family, because not everyone's always fortunate enough to have that support network.
Exactly.
So if you were to give some advice to maybe someone going through that now, like what, as far as trying to overcome that, what would you say to that person?
First and most important thing to understand is that you can't, if someone is putting you down or making you feel a certain way, or, you know, stepping on you or making you feel small or being patronizing or anything like that, it says more about them than it does about you. It's never got to do with you, ever. It's always about them and how they're feeling about themselves. And it's not always necessarily they're jealous of you because of the way you look. It could be the way how you're always so happy, or how you hold relationships, or how much your family loves you and things like that. So it's just to know that they're the people that need love the most. And instead of turning to them or being angry, or, you know, allowing their words to dictate your worth, to know that they're the ones that are hurting, they're the ones that need the love the most. And just to know that, to always love yourself and to be proud of who you are. And because no one can ever make you feel any way whatsoever, you just need to believe that you're more powerful than anything.
Couldn't have said it any better. And it always is that generally the bully is the one that is hurting the most.
Always.
And it's generally it's always their insecurities that then reflect on something positive in you that they turn into a negative.
Exactly. No one puts any, like, you don't, if you're content, like obviously no one's completely happy 100% in life. There's always ways that people can be better and things like that. But if you're content with yourself and you know, okay, I'm going to be better, I want to be better or do better, you would never look down on someone and want to put them down. The only people that looks at someone and wants to put them down is someone that's not happy with themselves, or not proud of who they are or where they are with their work or finances or relationships. So they see you and they don't like it, and they're powerless in their own life. So the only way they feel power is by like trying to toy with your emotions or play with you.
And it's a very weak thing to do, but I guess it's a mechanism that it's a very bad mechanism, but it's a mechanism that some people use.
Exactly.
And like looking back at all the experiences that you have, if there was something maybe you would want to tell your younger self, what would that be?
Just to know that you are amazing, and to never let anybody's words ever dictate your worth. And just to know that whatever you have and put your mind to that you're going to achieve, you just got to make sure you keep the right people around you, and also never be afraid to speak up about how you're feeling, or stand up for what you need to stand up for, even if it means you lose people along the way.
I can completely relate to that. It's always making sure that that core group of people around you
100%.
is the right people to have there. Sometimes you might think they're the right people, but they're not.
Exactly. And you learn
how to judge character a lot better.
Yeah.
And then if you were to say something to your future self, what would it be?
I would say that I'm so proud of you for all the choices that you've made, because I'm very, very strong on doing things that make you happy. And I think that a lot of people think happiness is like, or success is like money or finance or like, you know, your career and all that. And I think that's just a very small part. I think success is being happy and choosing you always. And I know for a fact, because I've been doing this for my whole life till now, and I know forever I will always choose me. So if I'm in an unhappy relationship or unhealthy friendship, or even with clients, if anyone is giving me negative energy, or even clients are treating their staff wrong or whatever it is, I leave from that situation. I always want to make sure that I'm surrounded by people and only doing things that make me happy, because if you're happy, then that's it. That's the best life.
Well, that's amazing. Thank you so much for sharing a lot of personal stuff with us.
Okay.
And I know like it can be hard for a lot of people, but you know, it does hit close to home talking about like the bullying, and I'm sure, you know, not just myself, but people in our audience all have experienced some form of it in their lives. But what I want to get onto next is start talking about business.
Okay.
So this is really good because it leads into it segues into the businesses that you've had and this great career that you're having.
Yeah.
But before we go into that, our team of social media managers / investigators over here have told me that I need to give you a blue V.
You organize this because it's wrong.
Ivana,
do you not watch my vlogs? It's the dark blue V. But you know, you're lucky because I'm not allowed to be drinking it right now, so I can't drink it even if it was right. But I appreciate it. But Ivana, you did it wrong. This is wrong, guys. It's wrong. It's wrong.
Well, hopefully we'll do a part 2. Next time we'll make sure that we've got plenty of cans of the dark blue V here.
Okay.
So
Amazing.
people would probably say, or some people would probably say, Charles, what are you doing? You own a marketing agency. You're sitting with another marketing agency talking about marketing. Well, like I'm in the business of thinking there's plenty of customers out there for everyone.
Exactly.
We're not always all going to service the same customers. Sometimes we do.
Yeah.
But like there's no need to kind of be standoffish about it. If anything, we should have an open discussion about it.
I agree.
So I know you've got a multitude of businesses that you've kind of got going.
Yeah.
So if you can give us a bit of a rundown of let's start with maybe the marketing company. So like branding with AMK. So how did this eventuate and what is it?
Okay. Well, it's actually so funny because I never planned to start the agency, ever. I've been obsessed with branding because obviously I started my business when I was 18 years old.
Yep.
And with the business, having an online platform, I naturally made myself, had my own personal branding attached to it. So not only was I running a business, but I made myself as a personal brand online, you know? So I've always been obsessed with branding. I've always been obsessed with coming up with ideas and bringing it to life through Move with AMK, like since I was 18. So for the last like almost, I don't even know how long. Anyway, I've been obsessed with it. So over the years, so how it started, which is actually very funny, is like almost 4 years ago, one of my friends, he owned a shisha delivery company. Yeah. And he asked me, hey, he needed help with social media. And his sister was like, get AMK because she's really good at it. She does it for herself and my family businesses. Like we have restaurants. And when he asked me, I was like, obviously, like I do it for myself. I know that I'm good, but it's different when you're doing it for someone else. Right. But so I was like a bit hesitant at the beginning, but I'm like I do this every day as if I can't do it.
But the expectations, or at least the way you deliver things, would change.
Of course, because it's not my business anymore. I got to figure out it's his baby, but how are we going to bring his baby to life?
Correct.
So basically I started running his account, and at the time, like all the shisha delivery businesses, all they were doing was taking like photos of the shisha on the ground when they would deliver it to customers. All the customers would send them photos or videos and they're all like blurry and they'll just be posting them, which is fine. They're just doing their thing, but that's all that was done. And with me, like with what I learned with my business is that it's not just like the product, it's like the emotion or the feeling or the experience.
Yep.
So what I started doing was like we would do content nights every fortnight. We'd bring influencers because like my network of friends is also influencers. So we just all hang out. And every content night I would do like different themes. So one would be like Netflix, cards, and shisha. One would be pizza, pool party, and shisha. And I would get them to all just have shisha and literally enjoy the night. I would slowly direct it and creative change things. And then I started running it. And then after like a couple of weeks, all the competition started DMing me, trying to hire me. And I was like obviously I know that I'm good, but I think it's different when you start doing it for other people that's not yourself and not your family.
Yeah.
And people start to reach out. And I was like, okay, like obviously I didn't go to them, but I was just like, I must be doing something good. And then when people started to realize I was doing social media for clients, people started to hire me. And in like 2 months, I got like 5 clients. So I just started the agency. It was never planned, you know.
When was it at that point, or was there a particular point maybe further down the road where you were like, I could actually make like a proper business out of this?
No, like when I got like 4 clients, I was like, because my dad and my uncles that own the restaurants, they're like, I guess, my mentors when it comes to business. So I was like to my dad and uncle, like, I don't know what to do. Do I just do it? And they're like, no, you have to start another business, like register a business name. It literally like happened overnight. And that's it. It just started. And then it has been nonstop ever since. Like so busy.
And then where did you go from there? Like how did you get to this point where you are now?
Okay. So at the beginning was a bit harder because I was like obviously transitioning from having my own business, and everyone's already confused with Move with AMK. Like, oh, what do you do? Because I do so much under it.
Mm-hmm.
So then starting branding with AMK, I had to slowly transition into that as well without confusing my followers, especially. So basically, I guess like online branding, that's when I started doing my vlogs, which is like spend a day with me as a girl sitting as a social media marketing agency and clothing line. So I slowly started subconsciously advertising myself just by documenting my day. But at the same time, with the agency, it grew slowly. I started slowly taking on clients at a time. And then I would get used to a new client. And then once I got used to that workflow, then I would take on another client. But even till like now, it's been like almost 4 years. I'm still learning things every single day with how to make the agency better. If I experience something and I'm not happy with how it happens, I'll try to go back and be like, okay, why did this happen? How can I make sure it doesn't happen again? And find out, is it a flaw in my agency? Is it something I need to change in the brief when I first talk to clients? Or is it like a fee that I need to add in the agency to make sure if it does happen again, I'm not going to get annoyed, like I'm getting paid for it anyway.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
I totally get that.
Yeah, and until this day, I feel like I'm still learning and still figuring out ways to be better and make the agency better.
Well, that's what I always figure is the day you stop learning is the day you start to fail.
Exactly. Yeah.
So you just always got to keep learning, evolving.
Yeah.
And then obviously working with different industries would probably give you different avenues or different skills that you would use.
Exactly.
So what would you say is the industry that you like working with the most?
I think I love all industries, but I think the best industry for me is like the hospitality, like the food.
Yeah.
And shisha as well, because I'm obsessed. I'm obsessed with food and shisha. And plus, my family own restaurants. So I used to work and run the restaurants with my family. So I know all aspects of it and I understand it from all avenues. So I feel like it's good because then I can really work with the owners and understand when there's changes in the business and adapt to change really fast because I know it from all angles and stuff.
And then back to your other business, give us a little bit of context on that, which is Move with AMK.
Yeah.
So it's kind of there's 2 sides to it from what you said before. You've got the anti-bullying stuff that you do, the messaging, and then you've also got the clothing line.
The clothing line, yeah.
So where did this all start?
Okay.
And, we've got already a little bit of context about that, but where did it all start? And, what does that journey look like?
Okay, so basically, like I said, I started it when I was 18. And when I started the business, because I started learning personal training and I taught group fitness classes. So all I was posting online was like about my workout classes and advertising them so people could come, and also positive quotes and messages and stuff. And when I first started it, I actually got bullied from the same girls from high school. Like the popular girls from high school were bullying me online about, oh, haha, like let's move and knock her out of the way. Or how far does she think she's going to get with this? Or this is so pathetic, this is so sad. And I wanted to stop. Like I was probably 18 or 19 at the time. I wanted to stop. I was so embarrassed. But then I thought about everything that I've experienced. And, I thought, you know what, I didn't care if like 100 girls laugh at 100 girls, like 99 girls laugh at me. But if out of one of those 100 girls, I can change their life and make them look at themselves in the morning and love what they look like, that I didn't give a fuck about the other, like they can literally get fucked. Like I didn't care about them.
It's amazing, like your life journey up to that point and your experiences with the bullying side of things and just everything that happened with your family life and that your strong family life, and then also the bullying stuff that happened. It molded you to realize that messaging and
Yeah.
having in your business
Naturally.
is so
Naturally.
important.
Exactly.
But people have a business for 20 years and
Yeah.
just like, I'm just here to make money. It's like, no, what's your purpose? What are you
Yeah.
here to do? The money will come.
Yes.
You just got to make sure you do what you love.
And right intentions.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You've got to want to actually do something to make a change.
Exactly.
Whatever that is.
I
If
agree.
it's like, if your message is like, I just want to make sure everyone feels great eating a pizza, like, and you make pizzas, that's
Yeah,
great.
there
But
you
like,
go. Yeah.
figure out what that is
Yeah.
and hone in on your craft.
Yeah.
And the rest will just happen.
Exactly. No, you're 100% right. That's so true. And that's what happened. Like I was just ignore those girls, kept going. And then I've always wanted to have my own clothing line. I didn't know at the beginning before I started in the fitness industry that it was going to be like streetwear, activewear hoodies. And because I got into the fitness industry and then I realized, you know what, like why don't I do like athleisure wear, which is where the goal is going to end up being. And right now it's just hoodies because I'm using hoodies are easy to do.
Yep.
And my brand, like the clothing line is still, I would consider it a very baby brand. I have a lot of ideas and a lot of goals and I've just used what I've been doing up until this point is kind of creating the base of the brand and connecting it back to the message so that eventually I can work on what I've probably wanted to work on with the clothing line.
So that kind of leads into my next thing is what would you say like let's say like the 5-year plan for the clothing line would it be to turn it into a full range?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yep.
Yeah. So I'm gonna be almost kind of starting on the first collection. I've been working on it for years, but like in production, it takes a lot of time.
Yep.
And then with the agency, sometimes I put the clients, obviously I would always put the clients first and I forget about my brand.
Yep.
And then my sisters are like to me, why aren't you posting for Move and stuff like that? So it's just about, I guess for the next 5-year plan is obviously creating the first full collection, doing like a fashion show runway for it. And then hopefully, God willing, like opening a flagship store.
That's amazing. And everyone watching, make sure you go like and follow Move with AMK.
Thank you.
And see what's coming.
Yeah.
So, no, look, that's amazing.
Yeah.
And then how do you find juggling like those, like you said before, like sometimes you forget like, oh, I've got so much going on with this business.
Yeah.
Like, how do you find juggling 2 businesses and then obviously just life in general? Like, how does that all work?
I think it's like, I feel like I've mastered it. I think it's pretty good. Like it gets hard at times. Don't get me wrong. I think in general, when it comes to clients, I'm always on top of it because like, you're not like, you're doing it for someone else.
Yep.
When it comes to my stuff, there'll be times where maybe I'm not posting as much as I should be for Move, but it's more so I just have to remember that my business is my dream too. And I have to always make sure that I'm treating it as though I would treat my client. So it's almost like just stopping and be like, hey, why haven't you posted? Like reflecting back, how come you haven't posted and things like that.
Yeah.
But it does get hard.
I could totally relate to that. Even with our businesses, it's always like, make sure we treat ourselves as our own client. And if you don't, you just get to put on the back burner.
No, literally.
And it doesn't happen.
And I'm here making viral videos for my clients and I haven't even made a video for Move for like X amount of time. And I'm like, I get upset with myself, but then I'm just like, it's okay. At least like I'm not being lazy if I'm doing something, with that time.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like if you've got a passion for something, you've got to make sure that you prioritize.
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
And the funny thing is when you hear people say, oh, like, I'm going to start my own business, so I've got more time for myself.
Yeah.
Guys, it's a lie.
It doesn't.
And you have
stop.
0 time.
It doesn't stop.
No.
And my phones don't stop.
No, you definitely don't. It's just like, it just becomes part of your life.
But that's why you have to love it. Because
Correct.
if you love it, like for me, like, I'm so busy, but like I'm so happy.
Well, yeah.
That's what I want.
It's not work anymore.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, you know what you're doing, you're helping people, you're changing lives, and you're going to make some money in the meantime. Like that's why we're all here.
Exactly.
But like that's not the first thing.
Yeah, exactly.
So as far as like juggling all of those things and these 2 businesses, what does your support system look like, or do you have one?
Yes, I have a very good support system. I've got my family, so we have a really big family. And my dad and my uncle have been in business like our whole life. So I feel like when I left school like halfway through year 11, and when I first left school, I ran my dad's car wash for like a year. And I was just with my dad every single day. And I swear I learned so much from him, watching him and my uncle run businesses and start businesses and the negatives and the positives. And I feel like everything that I learned has really shaped me to who I am today because from the business aspect of things, because I've been able to learn from his mistakes and what not to do or how to approach situations and things like that. And I don't think you can learn that ever at school. You have to be in that situation.
And they're things that they would have been, and I can relate to this because I've been in those same situations with my uncles and with my dad. They've always run businesses, and I've always been, even as a little kid, just being there in the shop, you see what's going on, you see the interactions with clients or, with staff or just business dealings. And what they don't realize is you're just sitting there, and sometimes I think even we don't realize it. It's like we're a sponge and we're just taking all that information, and then it leaves a good impression in the long term.
Yeah, it's crazy because like even, I've got my partner with me today, and then my sisters and my mom and my brother, and then even my sister's fiancés, like we all, especially my sisters, we all have an online platform. One is a singer and one is a makeup artist. And we're constantly inspiring each other every single day.
If you want to give them a shameless plug, feel free to.
Crystal K Makeup and Jazzy K. Yeah, no, but so we're all so passionate, and it's like so good having that around you because like we're all doing our own thing and we all have different avenues and different goals, but the core of what we do is all the same. We all just want to be online and make a positive impact. Jazzy wants to make music to help girls feel confident and help people feel good and beautiful and feel loved. And Crystal is a makeup artist, so she helps girls love themselves and enhance their beauty and feel more confident. And it's all comes down to the same core thing while we're doing things different and executing it differently. So we inspire each other every single day.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
So going back to the origins of kind of where you started with, probably more so with Move with AMK.
Yeah.
What's the importance of, and we kind of touched on this before, so what was the importance of good marketing? So, and not necessarily online, but even just in person, like that verbal marketing when you were in the restaurants, like you said before.
Yeah.
And speaking to people and doing that networking, that's all form of marketing. So how important was it?
Well, back then I didn't know that I was marketing, like, because I was just like doing my thing. But looking back at it now, I think when you love what you do and you have good intention behind what you do, it becomes a part of you naturally. So when you like talk about something that you love, people feel that. So like, and when you love what you do, or when you have a goal or a vision for yourself that's genuine and comes from a good core, you just radiate it. So like when I talk to people, I'm not going out of my way to talk to people just so I can find out what they do and how. I'm just like, oh my God, this is what I do, blah, blah, blah. And when you're genuinely happy with who you are and what your goals are and everything like that, I think just you speak about it naturally because it's what you want to do, and you like bring it out to the world and you create opportunities for yourself by also, oh my God, that reminds me of something that I always say is that it's so important, and I learned this actually from my dad. It's so important to be present wherever you are, no matter where you are, because literally there could be someone sitting right next to you that could link you to the most important thing in your life, and you have no clue. So like when I go out, I have friends, like, we go out, I'm never like go get drunk, or even if I am, I'm always present and I know who's around me and what's going on. And I always talk to everyone around me. I always listen to people and know what's going on, because that's when the most biggest opportunities I've ever had, or even for my sister or my sisters or my dad or my mom, like all that opportunities, the biggest opportunities that have come from just literally being present and not like actively trying to find or do something. You're just being yourself in your element and following your path, and you find everything naturally when you're doing.
And unknowingly, you're selling whatever it is, like yourself essentially, like whatever it is that you're promoting, like whatever it is that your business is, you're selling yourself. And you're doing it without even realizing you're doing it. And it's the most natural way to do it. Because it doesn't feel like a sales pitch.
No, exactly. It's funny because when I'm with my clients, like with the agency, I'm generally by myself. Like when I'm talking to them or I'm having meetings, I'm by myself. And there's been recent situations where it would be a collab, and I've been going with like my cousin and her partner, or even my sister's fiance, and they'd get me a meeting and they'd be there as part of the meeting, and they never had seen that side of me, like of me talking about, social media presence and online branding and stuff like that. But I'm just talking natural, and they're like looking at me, they're like, I didn't even know that's in your brain. Then I'm like, yeah, it's just like I genuinely love it. And I don't know, I think that's why it's so important, no matter what you do or whatever career you choose, is that you literally do what makes your heart happy, because it shows. It always shows, no matter what.
Yeah, I definitely feel the same way. I think whether you work for someone or you work for yourself,
no matter what it is, you've
just got to make sure that when you show up at work every day, it's not work. It's something that you really enjoy doing.
Exactly.
And it's something that you see a purpose in, whether it's helping other businesses, whether it's helping people with confidence issues, whatever it is. whether it's feeding people, like your family.
Yeah.
Think about the joy that your family's brought over all those years, just feeding people.
No, literally, yeah.
How many good memories does everybody have sitting in a restaurant?
Exactly.
Yeah. So, if people were to ask, your dad, I would assume, or your uncle, what is it that you guys do? They'll probably say, we make good memories.
Yeah. And that's exactly right. Yeah.
Right. So that's amazing to hear. So as far as both your businesses, but probably more so with the marketing side of things, as you grew and you took more clients on, when did you get to what point did you get to where it was like, oh, maybe there's some difficult moments here, or maybe they've got some scaling issues, or
that's,
you want to elaborate on that?
Good question. Yeah. The biggest problem for me is that I am very attached to my business. And when I take on clients and take on their businesses, I treat them like my business. And if I can't do it like that, I don't take on the client.
We're really the same.
So it's for me, there's a lot of emotion involved, where technically I know there's probably a lot of agencies that have it better off because they don't connect emotion. They're very strategic. But with me, I definitely think, it's a weakness, but I think it's one of my biggest point of differences as well, because I genuinely care for the client and I genuinely want to make sure that whatever I'm doing is adding value, because it's not like, hiring an agency, they could be putting that funds to their own family or their other parts of their business. So they're really trusting in you. So I want to make sure if someone is working with me that I'm putting 100% in, and if I'm not doing it, I won't. And in saying that, one of the biggest challenges for me is hiring people. I subcontract a lot. Like when someone needs like a professional videographer or photographer, I'll do that, but I'll always be a part of the creative direction. But I find it very difficult to hire people because I want to do everything myself. I want to do all the meetings. I want to get all the clients. I want to do all the content. I want to do all the editing. I want to do all the posting. I won't even schedule posts because it gives me anxiety. Because I need to actually physically press post myself, because then I feel like I'm not doing it properly. It's
honestly the hardest bit of being a business owner is having to let go of certain things.
I know, yeah.
And then on the other side of it is I can totally relate of not knowing if you're going to hire the right fit, because you do care so much about the client. And you want to make sure that whoever you do bring in cares as much as you do.
Exactly.
So that's what I always say.
So that's where my problem is.
That's what I always say, hire very slow.
I feel like eventually I will probably hire. But right now I'm kind of happy where I'm at, being more of a boutique type agency and working very closely with clients and making sure they get so much of my attention. Especially because I also have Move with AMK and Move by AMK. So I don't see that there needs to be any reason for me to have so many clients and so many social media managers under me running different accounts, where I feel like what I'm doing right now is a perfect balance. But if I was to hire someone or people in the future, I would, and I know the agency can grow, but I feel like I would rather much be putting that growth into my business, Move with AMK, and still have the agency working with a rotation of boutique, close-knit clients. That's where the struggle is right now, I think, for me.
Yeah, well, it's just about finding where you need it. You've only got so many hours in the day, so many days in the week. So you've got to figure out where you put that energy.
Yeah.
And really, you've obviously figured out pretty quickly that your big driver is that original business.
Exactly.
So it's okay, well, I can still do this. I can do it well.
Yes.
But maybe I just put more growth or more time to grow into this business.
Exactly. Move with AMK, Move is my baby. Yeah. It will always be my first priority. If something happened and I had to choose, no matter what, I would choose Move, always. Yeah.
And then when it comes to, because I've experienced this myself in an agency, when it comes to clientele, and the way I look at it is, it's when a client comes to us, or we approach a client, whatever it might be that we're going to possibly work with, it's almost like an interview both ways.
Exactly, because you both got to be happy.
Yeah,
it's I was actually telling my partner, it's when you get a client, you're in a relationship with them.
Correct.
If they're negative and they're patronizing and they're not understanding, or they're trying to literally control everything you do, it's definitely it's not going to work. How you're supposed to do your job if someone's literally hooking with you.
But it makes a difference when you bring on the right client.
Exactly.
So especially as if when the time comes and you do grow, and even the staff are more your team is more appreciative of that as well, because everyone in our team doesn't look at ourselves as a marketing agency. We look at ourselves as an extension of their business.
Yeah.
And when that client wins, the team's in the office celebrating.
Exactly.
Because we've helped them put the hard work in. We see how hard they work in their business, and we want to help them succeed.
Yeah, that's beautiful. So good.
So having a really good client, and we're in a very fortunate place now where, and I'm sure you're probably in that same place now too, because you're so careful with who you onboard as a client. You've got clients that you just love working with, and they're all appreciative.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the best thing. I think the hardest thing for me, or what I've learned over the years of having the agency, is I feel like we're privileged in the sense that we can pick and choose which clients we work with. Like, I think that's a blessing. But I think it's also very important to make sure you're surrounding yourself with clients that have the same values as you, and the same mindset, because you are talking to them constantly and working. Like, it's a team. You're working together, and you don't want to be working with someone that emotionally brings you down or thinks they can talk down to you, because at the end of the day, you're not working for them, you're working with them. Correct. And you need to be able to work together as a team to like execute and bring like big things to life. Well,
that's when you get the best results. Exactly. And it shows in the work, I'm sure, that you do and the work that we do. Like when you really do care about the client and the client really appreciates what you do, you're always going to get the best results.
100%. Yeah. I find that when I have clients that will try to micromanage me, I can't do my job properly, and you're not allowing me to, like, you're not trusting in me. But the ones that say, you know what, AMK, this is what I want, blah, 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 do your thing. And then those are the accounts that go the best, because they're trusting in me, and it makes me feel like I'm not limited to doing what I need to do to make sure that, because at the end of the day, the goal is to make them bigger and better and stronger and have a better online presence. So we all want the same thing. They just need to, I guess, trust in us.
Yeah. I could also see the other side of that. I understand why some people do get a bit apprehensive.
Oh, yeah.
Because at the end of the day, it's their baby.
I would never let anyone touch my social media.
There you go.
Absolutely not. I'll die.
So, like, you know, if for someone else, even if social media is not their forte, it's the way that the world perceives themselves online. Yeah. So if you're a marketing agent, if you're a restaurant, for like, for just off the top of my head, like, so let's say you're a restaurant, and you've put your heart and soul into that business.
Exactly.
And then you were to go and hire someone like myself or yourself. Yeah. You want to make sure that they're executing everything to the best of their ability to showcase what your brand built. Exactly. Correct? So at the end of the day, you're handing your baby to a stranger.
Exactly. Yeah. That's why I think it's so important, like, in the brief, and to make sure, like, for them to be, I always say to my clients, tell me exactly what you need, what you're expecting from me, because I will tell you the truth. If I'm going to be able to do it, if you're talking to the wrong person. I've even had people come up to me, and I have given them to other agencies that are in the industry that I'll be like, I feel like they're actually so, and I won't just take it on just to have more.
Yeah, of course.
I'll be like, I believe that this company will be able to do for you so much better. And they always respect that, because I'm always honest.
Yeah. If you could give advice to small businesses in just the current advertising world, and they were trying to build a marketing strategy to help promote their business, just in general, what advice would you give to a small business that maybe has a bit of a limited budget and maybe doesn't have those resources to yet invest in speaking with someone like yourself or like myself?
Yeah. I think two things. One is to not be afraid to put themselves in front of the camera, because no matter what industry you're in, the biggest point of difference is literally yourself.
Ivana's smiling behind the camera. I'm not even looking at her.
The biggest point of difference is yourself. Like, you could have a million hairstylists, a million whatever. You can, your other point of differences could be maybe something that you specialize in, or something, your signature look or whatever it is, which is so fine. But your biggest point of difference is literally you. Like, no one can be you. So I think it's not silly, but I feel like it's sad when people are missing out because maybe they're afraid to be in front of the camera, or they're afraid to, show their faces. But at the end of the day, no matter what it is, if you put yourself in front of the camera, people are going to end up loving you and showing your personality and showing what makes you, not only around your business, but everything that just makes you as a person. And then people will start relating to you and find you, someone that they can relate to. And in that turn, it makes people want to, either buy a product or come and visit your store or things like that. But that happens naturally just because you're being yourself. And that's like the most important. And I also think number two, and you touched base on this briefly before, is that one of the biggest misconceptions is people thinking that other people in your industry are competition, when really it's not the case. You shouldn't be looking at other people thinking, how can I be better than them? You should be thinking, how can I be different? And working together, like us doing this interview together, some agencies won't do it because it's two, but like, why wouldn't you bring two people together that are in the same industry and bounce off each other and help others? Like, some people are small-minded, and if you're open-minded to, want to grow and want to be better, then you will never be threatened by anyone that's even in the same industry as you.
Of course. Like,
Yeah.
at the end of the day, the knowledge that you have and I have is always going to be slightly different.
Exactly.
There's probably different views even on the same topics that we're going to give.
Exactly.
So you always want to be able to see two sides of something.
Yeah.
And at least hear two different thought processes.
Exactly. How about you? What's the advice that you would give?
Probably very similar to yours.
Yeah.
So the first thing is make sure that you really do humanize the brand.
Yes.
And if it is getting in front of a camera, get in front of the camera.
Yeah.
But just be there and just be present with that and build that audience. Because at the end of the day, like what you said before about hairstyles, you can take pictures of a million different hairstyles that you've cut or colored or blow dried or whatever, right? So how many of those are you actually going to put on your feed? People are going to say, like, well, who am I having a relationship with when I go in to get my hair cut?
Yeah.
What does the shop look like?
Yeah.
What is the atmosphere like? Am I going to feel comfortable there? Is it somewhere I can sit for 2 hours getting my hair colored or whatever it might be?
Yeah.
So you want to give an insight into your business. People are just nosy. So that's the way I look at it. So let them be nosy in your business. Let them see what goes on. Let them see the inner workings of it, no matter the industry. The second thing that I would say is really important for a small business is that if you really do want to grow, make sure that when you do have the ability to, find the right agency that can work with you and help you grow and invest in them. And if you've got the right agency, it'll never be an expense. It's always an investment. And if you're not seeing an ROI on it, then go find someone else.
Exactly. I agree. I 100% agree with you. Because people are busy running their businesses, and even the people that do understand social media, like they're important and like, sorry, not they're important, but their priority should be just running the business. And it's not a bad idea just to let someone be like, let me do this, you do that, and let us take care of this for you so you can focus on the more important stuff.
Correct. Like running other businesses, that's when I realized that this was so important.
Yeah.
So running up in businesses in different industries, it was like I had to be the accountant, I had to be the HR, I had to be the salesperson, I had to do it, and then the marketing guy.
Yes.
And it's like, well, you can't stretch yourself that thin.
Exactly.
You're better to just bring in the right professionals that understand what it is that they need to do, their specialty.
Yeah.
Let them do it, and you focus on your craft, whatever that is, whether it's cutting hair, cooking, whatever that is, just focus on your part of the business and let the right people take care of the rest.
I agree. Very good advice.
And then the last thing I wanted to ask you today is, this is something that kind of relates to the anti-bullying, but also then people taking that leap. So a lot of people would be apprehensive to maybe to go with their business idea or to start a new business because they're worried about that fear of failure, or maybe that fear of people going, fuck you doing? Why would you do this?
Yeah.
So what would you say to those people that have like maybe got this great idea? It could be like the next $1 billion idea.
Yeah.
But they're apprehensive in saying, okay, I'm going to just do this. I'm going to run with it and just see where it goes. What's your advice to them?
My advice is to really, if you believe in what you have, no matter how big it seems or how silly it seems, to keep pushing forward and keep taking action every single day to get closer towards your goal, because nothing is impossible. Everything you put your mind to, you can definitely do. And to make sure that, and I think one of the most important things is by making sure the people that are around you, whether it's your friends or your family, the people that are close-knit, are actually friends and people of value. And if they're not adding value to your life or making you feel like you can't do it, or, you know, putting you down, to literally cut them off, because sometimes they're literally the people that can make or break another person. So just to keep people around you that genuinely want the best for you and genuinely will do anything and everything to support whatever your vision is. And on top of that, obviously to believe in yourself and to know that anything is possible and you just got to give it a try. And as you literally have nothing to lose.
Well, at the end of the day, if you'd rather fail than think, what if?
Exactly. You don't want to be on your deathbed and think, oh, what happens if I did that idea? Like, you want to know, like, you know, I tried, it didn't work, or I tried and it worked. And that's all it is. Just doing and trying everything that's in your heart.
That's great advice. Thank you so much for sharing your story today.
Thank you for having me.
Speaking about marketing and business, like, it's been really insightful to myself, and I'm sure our viewers are going to find this very insightful as well. So thank you very much for being here today.
Thank you for having me.
And hopefully we can maybe do a part 2 sometime in the future.
Down. Let's do it.
Done.
Thank you. Thank you.